What's up, guys? I'm SaltEMike, and this is your Star Citizen Week in Review for November 6th, 2023. The team is firing out updates with the Pyro Preview and now 321.1. With that, one of the most useful tools in the game, tractor beams, has now evolved again into ship tractor beams. And even 322 is starting to shape up. All that and more on today's Week in Review. And as always, if this is your first week in review, this is where I take all of the official Star Citizen news each week, put it into one video, and share some of my opinions about it. I also live stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/SaltEMike, every day but Monday, starting at 6:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And yeah, stop by, say hello. All of you guys have been stopping by lately and saying enjoy the videos, so on and so forth. So keep it up. It's really, really motivating. But with that said, we got to jump into the big week that we had, and specifically, let's start out with some patch notes. And with the patches, let's start out with the Pyro Preview. This was a ton of fun for me, and only for about a day or so, right? The locations are great. The solar flares are a really, really cool touch, and you can really see their goals with the system with this like power struggle between factions. I really like that, but it also felt like exactly what it was. It's a demo, and it was a demo for CitizenCon, right? And that's totally fine. I actually prefer it. I want my first time for when I jump from Stanton to Pyro to, like, mean something, right? There are a few new missions, but it mostly felt like dirty Stanton, I guess, for now. How are you guys enjoying Pyro? Let me know, and if you haven't jumped in yet, there's still playtests ongoing, but the test is sort of difficult to get in as it's falling under the PTU rule set a little bit, which is like, hey, bring your money first and then we'll let you test kind of thing. But we also had a patch on Wednesday, and this was 321.1 in the ePTU. And specifically, ePTU matters here because things are in a partial state. I talked a lot about this and even harped on it on Answer the Call at the beginning. That's not going to happen here, but I do want to put it out there, so in case you guys didn't hear it, that I really don't think anything, once we hit Wave 1 PTUs, regardless if there's an E in front of them or not, should be in a partial state. Now, if CIG is to be believed about how much they care about the live build and delivering gameplay and all the excitement around the things they said at CitizenCon with polish, this is the exact opposite of that, bringing in features hot to get them in a playable, with quotations around that word playable, state before a major ship sale in 11 days, right? That's what they're doing here. They're trying to get things usable, but not polished, right? Not how they talked about the live build when in relation to the Pyro playtest and the test preview stuff. It's just the opposite, right? Then for ship trespass, this is one of the things that are coming into 321.1. This is the only feature I've yet to test in the PTU, actually, but it is here, and basically to bring a little balance to the current experience when being pirated, right? It was kind of bad that when someone joined your ship, you weren't able to defend yourself because you would get a crime stat yourself. So this removes that. There are a ton of edge cases. Feel free to read the notes on it. Link will be in the description. Then Data Heist is brought in as well. This is the mission that we saw in ISC just not too long ago, a few weeks back. This footage is from the Friday build, and it is certainly not a solo mission. It's quite intense, actually, and if the AI were alive at all, it would have been impossible as a solo. It's not a bad time. I really think this mission was quite good. It's just kind of sad that it's the fake hacking and not the hacking we would have hoped. They also showed the first instance of a mission item label here that I have ever seen, and, you know, it's kind of cool. Feels very MMO-y, and I like that. Ships in the build, the Argo SRV is now here, as well as the Crusader C1 Spirit. I love them both, and I feel like the Spirit is about to take over the Cutlass a little bit for me in terms of usability, since it's a little bit more agile, similar weapons, and, you know, when I'm taking out the Cutlass, I'm not really expecting too much combat or PvP, but for PvE, it holds its own, so not too bad. And then with those ships came tractor beams. Now, this is huge. It is one of the ultimate sandbox tools that has made the game so much better over the last few years, and they stepped it up to a whole new level. Now, even though they aren't ready for feedback, the location in which the tractor beams have been placed on ships makes them significantly less usable than what I think that they could be. even though they're not really willing to take feedback now, they're going to get that one for sure because it's very clear and very obvious at this stage. You can quantum travel with other ships, but it doesn't work right now due to a bug. You can move mineable rocks, which is crazy. You just have to break them initially. And then down players as well. I haven't tried all the ships, but I'm really enjoying the experience so far. The rest of the things that we know that are coming in the patch is all just minor stuff like the new player experience coming to New Babbage. Siege of Orson was tested yesterday, but it is a mess from what I hear, to the point where I didn't even bother getting footage. I was like, let me get some rest so I'm ready for this video today. The ground radar thing seems to be kind of focused on Arena Commander and tanks for now, but I don't know much about it other than that. UGFs have a lot more ledges that you can mantle over now. Be careful. I fell down the hole in the middle of one of them one time. And then headlights have been refactored and work much better now, as well as the Tumbril Nova getting some tweaks as well. Then we had a Friday patch where they updated New Babbage lighting a little bit because, again, it's the new player experience location, and they started to bring Squadron 42 AI into Star Citizen. And to nobody's surprise, they aren't doing anything but standing around and not shooting. They are pushing a little bit more, but they're still not really shooting their guns, and the experience isn't too great yet. But it's possible that these aren't even going to make it into the build, so we'll see. Data Heist is getting more love, but I've yet to get it to work properly. And then more polish on Tractor Beam UI, as well as tolerance. And the tolerance changes are in between the ship tractor beam sizes, as well as the multi-tool tractor beam attachment and the dedicated tractor beam. They're all a little bit different, but there's still a ton more work to do in this direction, especially when rotating things. I think that it's incredibly difficult to do with things that it is easy to move around, and then it's just not making a lot of sense right now, and it's very clear that they're throwing these in incredibly hot, and they're not ready. Ships, just more passes done. I barely noticed any changes from one patch to the other. And then grappling recoil, I'm not sure what this is. Leave a comment down below and let me know what you guys think it is, other than, like, it's shaking a little bit now when I use a tractor beam. I don't know. And then for bugs, they fixed the insanely bad bug sound from the previous patch with the SRV. And that's really it for this week's patches, but just an insane amount of stuff happening this week. Just so unexpected after CitizenCon. You usually get an insane drought, and we have so much to talk about today. So pretty crazy. And with that, there was a roadmap and a monthly report coming up. So let's start out with the roadmap. There's just so much. It's crazy. And with the roadmap, we'll start out with the progress tracker. And they added the Cutter Scout, which is already in the game, to the progress tracker. So just, I guess, what they did with it, or changing the name to an unnamed ship to the Cutter Scout, I guess. And then the Zeus is on the list of things to be worked on as well. And then for release view for 321, they added the data heist missions to the cards that we were just playing with. And then release view for 322. There are a lot of words here, but I think the substance of what 322 will actually become to be are still to find out in future roadmap roundups. I think there'll be a little bit more coming in the future on this, basically. The Squadron 42 hair is obviously great. The main feature has to be the structural salvage, though, that's being added to the cards here. The key thing of note is that structural salvage will create refinable material. RMC seems like a really low-grade material now when you hear that we're going to be salvaging refinable stuff, right? Where this sounds like it'll be used for crafting, maybe a bit higher end items, maybe weapons, maybe ammo, who knows? Because we know that they want to craft things all the way up to ships and possibly stations at some point. So yeah, they're starting to build the groundwork for that, and it is very, very exciting. So that's the big of note thing coming to 322. Cargo containers, another big step. We'll hopefully be able to store ship weapons, components, regular FPS weapons in these storage containers in a more normal way than the kind of weird stuff that we're dealing with right now. It's like almost unsupported, but it's kind of there. That's how they have it, and it sounds like they want to support it. For those of you who don't know, I don't have any footage of it, but you can buy, I think from the refinery decks, up to 8 SCU cargo containers at the shops, but there's no way to physicalize them and bring them into the world yet. So pretty cool stuff there. And then the rest are just like ships that we would have kind of guessed that would fall into place at either IAE or at the end of the year. And with that, that was our roadmap roundup. Let's head on into the monthly report, which is normally not filled with too much stuff after a Citizen Con, but we had some nice tidbits there. And as I said, we're going to skip a few things. We know about the Squadron 42 AI, so we're going to skip the AI section and go right to ship art. And yes, we've now seen the A1 and C1 in the game, so final reviews on those, not really of note. The RSI Polaris has more artists on it than ever before, and it is moving through Whitebox. And the big one for me, the Reclaimer, is getting some work with altering its claw, which is interesting, and the interior salvage stations, which I think is the big deal because I seriously hope that means that we are creating larger boxes of material than just SCU containers or one SCU containers, right? I think we would love to build up to 8 on the Reclaimer because the largest box that natively fits on the Reclaimer is an 8 SCU box, so that's pretty good there. The new variant is likely the cutter the cutter variant that we didn't see at CitizenCon, the one that was grayed out, I guess. Economy. My new favorite team is taking its time, it seems. They're still going through all of the vehicle and armors. They supported the tractor beams, and there is a significant jump in pricing on tractor beams, but again, given the current scenarios in Star Citizen where players can't lose anything, is 20,000 credits for something even really worth mentioning, right? Or having a difference between things? If there's like a 10,000, 20,000 credit difference, it's one mission, right? So my question is, will they be balancing mission rewards as well at some point? Who thinks it's time for a Star Citizen Live Q&A with this team specifically? I certainly do. It is time to talk about what the actual plan is here, right? Now that the team is in place and starting to do things, I really want to hear what their long-term plans are. Then for Arena Commander, it is a bit less exciting of an update for Arena Commander for me personally, because it's not about Gun Rush, I guess, but there are custom matches, which is a big deal for racing teams and esports communities in the game, so that's big. The award service hopefully leads to an actually, cool rewards like paints and things like that in Arena Commander, other than right now we just have the forum badges, which is kind of boring. But the big thing for me is the go, no go at the bottom there for new game modes. I am praying it is the experimental mode for engineering, right? And then for gameplay, we can quickly call out here that progress with structural salvage is obviously happening as it has a timeline now, and we see the tractor beam work on the PTU. Missions, there's a lot here, but I'm only covering a couple of these things today. They are working with the economy team to fix the insane profits from the cargo on salvage and bounty missions. If you haven't seen them, there is a bombing run on Pyro, and it's a nice change of pace, but it can be completed using weapons, so it's not quite a bombing run just yet. And Siege was tested last night, and it didn't go too well. For narrative, this is also a bit long, but I will focus on the last paragraph here, where they discuss something they talked about. What? I don't know, a year ago? Finally dealing with the game's mission givers, as well as planning long term for them. They are the quest givers in this game. They are the key to the story of each location. They are a ground for players in a given system to make it believable, and they've been ignored for way too long. So that kept it pretty short this month, as so many of the items were about CitizenCon. Next month should be really telling on how much of that CitizenCon work they actually plan on delivering to 322 and beyond. Or I guess not just next month, but the months coming, right? But next month will just show, are you, hitting the ground running and really trying to deliver some of these things to us? Or is this more of a next year kind of thing? And then for other updates, it's pretty short and simple. We start out with the sneak peek as always, and this one is simple. It's a tractor beam, right? And it looks like the one from the SRV based on the background behind it. And then the Galactapedia. This is really a really relevant Galactapedia update, as it has all the information about Pyro. The first main article was an overview about it, and then the side articles were about the gangs in the location. And I think the gang descriptions, and the locations also, they just had like the planets and stuff as well. But I think the gang's descriptions are the best way to understand what we might be doing here, especially Citizens for Pyro. Tells me what we will, likely pledge to one of these, and we'll maybe shift who's in control at some point. So anyone who's upset with the state of PvP in a location, maybe you join the Citizens for Pyro faction and maybe make a difference. Who knows? Maybe it'll actually mean something. And with that, guys, that'll do it for this week. Thank you so much for watching Week in Review. It was a short week, but it had a lot of meat on the bone as far as a post-CitizenCon week. I hear we're even getting an ISC this week and maybe an SCL, so they're hitting the ground running in some aspects. It's just so far not on the CitizenCon stuff as much and more on things that were work in progress before CitizenCon. So I'm very excited for the future of Star Citizen right now. I just hope they keep on pushing here because the state of the game gets better and better and better. And I really hope within these 11 days leading up to IAE that they really nail down 321.1 because it has a ton of potential. Leave comments down below and let me know what you guys think about anything we touched on, anything I may have missed, and subscribe if you haven't yet for more weeks in review. And yeah, hit the like button if you haven't, and I'll catch you guys next week. Bye, everybody.